Captain's Log, Episode 73. This week's episode of the Beer Vengers podcast is sponsored by the Beer and Cheese Collective, located at 35-11 Ditmars Boulevard in the Astoria, Queens. Enjoy their eclectic array of craft beer, artisanal cheeses, and specialty grocery items at the Beer and Cheese Collective. It's not too late to sign up for Eats in Queens Restaurant Month, a month-long benefit for Queens Together, an organization dedicated to supporting local food businesses and alleviating food insecurity throughout Queens. A small donation gets you a discount for nearly 200 restaurants all across the borough for the entire month of March, including a 20% discount at the Beer and Cheese Collective. Go to queenstogether.org for more details. On this week's Beercast, Captain Huck and the Beer Wonder drink 5 beers and talk about a lot of things. Let's see, there's beer clubs, listener feedback, something called Brulot beer, a deep dive into movies just in time for the end of award season, and other stuff. Before I get started, we do have one correction. On the episode, I mentioned that Barrier's Crowning Achievement, our sponsored pour from the Beer and Cheese Collective, is no longer available. I'm happy to report that at the time of this recording, that is no longer the case. Get it while you can. We regret the error. Remember to like, star, and subscribe whenever that feels appropriate. And send us your emails at thebeervengers@gmail.com if you have any questions, suggestions, or if you just like hearing us talk about you on the show. And now, without further ado, please enjoy episode 73, Loosey, Goosey.
Well, we're the beer Vengers, beer Vengers, beer Vengers. We're the beer Vengers, we're the beer Vengers, beer Vengers, beer Vengers. We're the beer Vengers.
Yeah. All right. Welcome to the Beercast, everyone, coming to you from an undisclosed location in Astoria, Queens. I am Captain Porter Brown Stout.
And coming to you from an undisclosed location in the city of Fresno, California, this is the Pale Male, Hophead Huck.
And coming to you from an undisclosed location in the County of Kings, it is I, the Beer Wonder.
And we are the Beer Vengers.
Excuse me.
Oh, yeah. That's some sweet beer venturing there. Oh, yeah, that's right. We're the Beer Vengers. Welcome to the Beercast. Wonderful to have all of you here once again. Episode 73. That's right.
My goodness.
They just keep adding up, and no end in sight until we decide there is. That'll keep you in suspense. Hope everyone's doing great up there. How are you guys doing? It's been so long.
1022.
That's right. We will be here at some point. We'll be covering each other's funerals.
Oh my gosh!
Can you imagine?
Wow, jeez. That's the Beer Vengers sphere. That's taken to a whole new level there. Once you add the great bar in the sky, is that where we're all headed? The great brewery in the sky.
Welcome to episode 2007. Yeah, no. It's great to be here. Hope you've enjoyed. Whatever it is you enjoy out there, mostly beer, but other things as well, because we're all most of us anyway, are well-rounded beer vengers.
We are well-rounded. I agree. I think beer vengers are the most well-rounded people out there.
And getting rounder all the time.
Hey!
Waka. I'm sorry we got rid of the soundboard. That'd have been a rim shot, to be sure.
You could add that in post. Add that. You know what? Here, make it delayed, and you could add it now.
All right. Nope.
It will be quite delayed.
Yeah.
I like that idea, though.
Yeah.
That's good. I think it should work.
I mean, obviously, full disclosure, this is our second episode we're recording tonight, and the second one is always, well, they're always fun, but these are always just a little bit more loose. Which is why at this point we've actually made it almost 3.5 minutes without starting on the pours. And
how dare we
remedy that? How dare we indeed?
Yeah,
that is ridiculous.
So So I don't know who should go first.
Beer Wonder.
Oh,
Yeah, Beer Wonder.
really?
I'll only be
Oh,
polite.
it would only be polite. That's so kind
Yeah.
of you. Well, here's the thing. I'm bringing back a favorite,
yeah?
a brewery that well, it's not, I'm pretty sure it's the first time we've had it, but it's a brewery that I think many of those of us who live in Gotham may have forgotten about because they did go away, but now they are definitely back. It's our friends at Braven. You remember them?
Oh, I didn't know they were back. That's good to
I
know.
went to the tap room.
They
once.
are, yeah. Braven. Well, we used to see them in Brooklyn. They're very cool. They've got this little logo of a raven with antlers on it here, but they're now being brewed in Rhode Island.
Okay.
And so yeah, so I wanted to highlight some of their beers. We'll talk more about it, in a second. But this is their Crowded Places IPA, which feels very like COVID appropriate. Because crowded places, stuff like that. But so I thought we'd give it a try. This one premiered ironically in 2020 when crowded places were like a weird thing. But I thought we should check it out and see what the new Braven is all about.
Excellent.
So, all right, here we go.
All right, there it is. Oh, there it goes. Nice. Nice. Looks hazy right out of the gate, but maybe that's going to
light haziness.
Yeah, it's got a nice haziness. It's got kind of a nice citrusiness too already that I can kind of smell. Citra, Galaxy, and El Dorado, if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to have a lot of good stuff going on.
Right.
All right.
Cool. Excellent. Well, since I got to go next to last time, I think that only means Huck should go next to last this time.
Oh, that seems right. That seems correct.
So that's now.
Yeah, that'd be now
because there's three of us. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bring math into this.
Well, since I have been in living in California, I kind of fell into this beer club. It's called the Lazy Dog Beer Club, and they're mainly brew. Each month they have a theme, and this a quarter, I should say, each quarter. So this quarter's theme is the underwater depths, and I have a glass to go along with it. You can see.
Oh
yeah!
Look at that
in the diving suit.
What a cool glass!
So this one is called the Monster itself, and it is a brown ale, 5%, and it's a collaboration with East Brothers Brewing. So each of these is a collab, and what's really great about them is you're getting the fresh stuff because they're all collabs, and they're all only available through the beer club. It's the only place you're going to see here's the theme on the back of the glass there.
Oh, cool.
Deep, what is it? The Deep Sea Society. That's the theme this quarter. Let's take a look at this brown baby. Got a nice. Oh, it's fairly light. We got a mahogany.
It's a good looking beer.
That is a nice brown ale.
Well, hopefully it'll taste just as good as it looks. Oh yeah, it's a little darkened in the glass a little bit, but if I hold it up to a light, I definitely can see that mahogany. It's actually, you know what it's like? It's like the deep sea. It's like I'm underwater.
Oh,
some brackish water.
Let's see that next to the can again.
Oh yeah, let's take it.
Yeah, let's check out that can art because that was some very pretty can art too.
Oh, that's great.
You have to go to the Instagram for that.
Now, does the Lazy Dog Beer Club have a rivalry with another beer club called the Quick Brown Fox Club?
I have not heard of that.
All right,
they should.
It's like Shelbyville. No, I haven't heard of that. But they are quite. But there's a lot of them. We could talk about it later.
I heard the Lazy Dog is kind of annoyed that the Quick Brown Fox is always jumping over it. Like, come on, I'm just having a beer. All right, so my beer just happens to be a
sponsored pour.
That's right.
Shock.
It is a shock, but I keep going back there because they do so much wonderful things. I mentioned on the last episode that they've been doing bi-weekly tastings, and I was there when they had the barrier tastings, and Sarah, the provider, was very excited to give me this one. It's from Barrier. It is an imperial stout brewed with maple syrup. It is called Crowning Achievement.
Oh,
it is an imperial stout brewed with maple syrup. It is brewed with Crown. The Crown comes from Crown maple syrup. It's bourbon barrel aged, and originally was brewed for De Chico, CICCO. Am I pronouncing that right?
De Chico's,
De Chico and Sons. It's
a Westchester.
I'm trying to find the canned and brewed in Oceanside, and big ABV that I'm sure it's here on the can somewhere. Oh, here we go, 12%. A 12%.
Oh wow!
I know you were disappointed in me last time with Beer Wonder with the 7%.
I was.
I'm moving back.
Thank you for rectifying that. I appreciate this.
You know, that's all. That's what I'm all about. So here we go. Here's the crowning achievement.
Oh, pretty can, pretty beer.
And I'm really so glad that they give us these wonderful sponsored pours, especially great ones like this that unfortunately I would love to tell you, go to the Beer and Cheese Collective and get this now, but it's already sold out. Like less than a week. No more of these, but
another exclusive beer.
It's why it's worth going regularly, just to make sure that you're on top of what's happening.
Absolutely, and check their Instagram because they always have all of their tastings listed there, and I try and mention them whenever I can. The Beer Vengers Instagram feeds. Anyway, that beside it, we all have beers. We haven't started drinking, so let's remedy that. Cheers, everyone! Cheers, Beer Vengers.
Mm-hmm.
Cheers, Vengers. I fit the whole thing in this 16-ounce glass.
So this one is intriguing to me because it's fruity and sweet, but it's also thick. And the thing that I forgot to mention is that they are using oat as an adjunct. So I think part of the cloudiness you're seeing is actually coming from that. But this is a very it's not quite orange juice, or I guess it would be grapefruit juice in this case, but it's bordering on it, which is kind of exciting and kind of fun. I could definitely see drinking this in a crowded place, without social distancing.
Sure.
So definitely a keeper, and glad to see that Braven is back. So I did want to talk a little bit about like what happened there, because we all know that Braven closed down here in New York City because they had been, I believe, in Bushwick. Is that right, gentlemen?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Yeah, I never actually visited there.
There is another brewery there right now.
Yeah.
In their old space. I don't remember which one. Could be a cidery.
Yeah. But because if I recall correctly, they had sort of started brewing in like 2009 in an East Village kitchen, and then they moved out to their location in Bushwick. And I think that this is one of those like Kickstarter-y ones, if I remember correctly, because I used to potentially give a tour or two there. And then everything kind of came crashing down a little bit around them. And they closed, I believe it was 2018 or 2019. And
it happened very abruptly, didn't it?
Yeah. They just sort of stopped because they had really made a hit with the white IPA that and then the Bushwick Pilsner, which is still something you can get today. But like a lot of these sort of picked up as being really important, cool beers. They had this really cool like yellow and black packaging that everyone recognized, and then it just disappeared. And I don't know all the details about that. Perhaps someone in the Beer Venture sphere out there can fill us in. But apparently Newport Craft, which is a distillery in Rhode Island, picked up the brand in 2019 and has been brewing under that brand now. So they're continuing the traditions. And the Bushwick Pilsner is still available. I actually saw it when I was picking this one up. So still around. But I'm glad to see them back. I remember enjoying the folks that I met there when I was giving tours. It was a tiny little space. Their equipment setup was just like, I was shocked that they were actually doing any version of any kind of production brewing on that. Like, it seemed like the thing where like you'd be lucky to get a couple cans somewhere. But glad to see them back, and glad to see that the quality is still up to par. So good job, Braven. We miss you in Brooklyn, but we're happy that you're in Rhode Island.
I think that's great.
My favorite Braven beer I ever had was Las Tumbas.
Oh, that was a good beer.
Yeah,
that was a good beer.
Good memory of Las Tumbas when we went.
The last time I logged that was in November of 2017.
Oh wow!
Well, we went to that bar in Queens. We were on the beer book.
Yeah, they're not there anymore.
And that bar is not there. And you also had a but the last time you went.
But the time we got the Las Tumbas, we had a much better experience. But
yes, we had a much better experience there.
It's all moot now. It was like
Braven.
Yeah, it was like I would say of the weird. Oh, here, this is actually weird. Of all the places we went to on that crawl, the Alewife and John Brown's and they're all gone. I mean, some of the Alewife and John Brown's have relocated. They've
moved,
relocated.
Right, yeah.
But what I'm saying is those locations we did on that crawl, they're all gone.
Yeah. Oh, that was a fun crawl. I actually that's one of the nights that that was a fine night of beer vegging. Just a fine night.
Oh yeah.
If you want to see pictures of that, go back to our blog and click on
I did really enjoy
2014.
That Las Tumbas.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a fantastic one.
It was spiced with habanero.
Yeah, it was a good beer.
Yeah, I think it was a stout. It's funny they only have it listed
not
as
overpowering.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, go ahead.
But it's funny because on Untappd it's listed as a spiced herbed beer, but I believe it was a spicy stout. Like, yeah, was it habanero, or you were saying you think it was something else?
I think it was habanero.
Okay, really great beer.
Now, do you see? I'm going to look at it myself. But do you see Las Tumbas being no longer in production? Is what I'm getting. Oh, okay.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they'll bring it back. I hope.
Well, I was going to say, Braven, if you're listening, you've got some love from the Beer Vengers here, and also we're thrilled to see you back. And because we have clout, we have sway, we have pull,
a lot of it,
all of it. But yeah, I was just excited to see this sort of like continuing to exist, and I'm just happy to see the Braven name back because it had been a minute since I'd seen any Braven in my local beer store.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, this brown ale is very nice. It hits all the correct buttons on a brown. It's got a nutty flavor, even a walnut. I get this walnut vibe from it. Not especially chocolatey, but got a nice caramely nose. It's right on. It's a solid brown ale.
Excellent.
The captain would be pleased,
As one should be.
as is the monster itself, and I suppose that's a kraken. It's a giant squid of some kind.
It is kind of ironic that it's Lazy Dog and it's a brown fox and it's a brown ale. To go back to that,
that is confusing. Yeah,
you are just.
But it wasn't that the thing that people were supposed to learn when they were learning how to type?
Yeah, because it has every letter in it.
The letters on the keyboard.
Letter. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But Lazy Dog is cool. I mean, I went the first time we went there, and we had brunch with another couple, and they said, "Oh, you want to join the beer club? You get $35 off your tab."
Oh,
and it costs $35. So I was like, yeah, and joined. And then I tried to cancel because I was like, well, I like buying my own beers. I like to. And then they said, no, don't cancel. We'll pay for your next. We'll pay for your next
That's
quarter. I did pay for a quarter of it. So I've so far I've paid. Well, now I've paid 70 because I paid for this quarter. But basically, I paid for 2 quarters and I've gotten 4 quarters. So,
wow,
not bad.
Do they give you a glass every time?
And a glass every time. And we went to an event, where had a what do you call it? Secret auction, or what do you?
The silent auction where it's you write them down. Yeah.
And we bid on all these gift certificates, and one of them was to Lazy Dog. And we won it. And guess what came with it? Another glass. So I have 5. I have 5. You've seen this one before because I have the Hophead Huck.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Hophead Supercade, which is the theme last time. But it's a really, I might just stick with it because it's just a kind of a cool beer club. And Melvin Brewing is the main one. You probably had Melvin in New York. I've seen it there. They have sort of robot themed can art.
Sounds familiar.
They're out of Wyoming. And East Brothers is, I think they're a West Coast company, but I could be wrong about that. I've seen them around, but I haven't really had any of their beers up to this point. But each one has a East Brother Beer Company. Yeah, Richmond, California. That's outside of San Francisco. So that's a local brewery. So yeah, nice. I'm pleased.
I'm going to get into my tasting notes in a moment, but I do want to mention, we were talking about the Las Tumbas. It's funny because I like that one so much. Now I'm to the point where generally if I have a beer, I'll log it once just so I have a record of it. And I have it again. It's like, I've already logged it. I'm going to do that.
Right.
I logged Las Tumbas 4 times.
Wow.
The bar that we were talking about that we didn't like, except we liked them when we were there for the Las Tumbas, was Alabar.
Yes,
that's what they were.
Oh, right.
Alabar.
Yes, Alabar. Yeah, we did not love them.
Beautiful bar. I mean, they had a real, like physically beautiful. It was marble and had a brass rail. It was a gorgeous bar. I mean, they must have put a lot of money into that place.
Then I had it again a month later at the Brazen Head in Brooklyn, which is a really nice bar.
Almost like Braven.
Yeah. Then Barcade, which I'm not sure which Barcade it was. It's not clear on here.
Classic.
And that was, and I wanted to mention this one because this is one I meant to mention a few episodes ago at Tap Room number 307. which unfortunately recently closed as well.
They've closed, yeah.
Like it was just a couple months ago. But yeah,
that's unfortunate.
But I do want to talk about this.
They were packed every time I went there. I don't know what happened.
I probably just like everywhere else in New York, probably they lost their lease or their rent went up too high. That's like what always happens. And next week they're going to be a weed store.
Damn high.
That's
all right.
That well, you'd think so. I mean,
beer to weed, that's the natural progression. Let's be honest.
I know. I mean, I'm very, very pro 420, but the strange thing is happening now in New York is that every time someplace closes, 2 weeks later or a month later, they open as a vape store or a weed store. Yep. And they're not necessarily licensed, and they claim they're cracking down on that. I haven't seen it yet. Just to give you an example, when I walk from my subway stop to my apartment, which is about 7-8 blocks, now there's like a weed store every 2 blocks. And I'm glad there are a few good ones there. But I also some of the places
stores, they're not just smoke shops.
They call them smoke shops, but they have weed. They have. I mean, they're all. That's what I mean. They're questionable. I don't know if it's questionable for me to buy it. It's probably questionable for them to sell it because they've got stuff from California. They've got edibles. They've got vape pens. They've got THC. The last time I went and got some edibles, the guy gave me this thing called Moon Rock, which is some crazy like.
What is that?
It's like 65% THC.
But
he just threw it in as a bonus. He's like, yeah, he's like a pre-roll. So I haven't tried that yet. I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, but back to the beer. I should talk about this beer because it is a wonderful beer.
Yes, we should go back. We should do an episode on the weed episode in the future. But okay,
that will be the Beer Avengers on our off hours. I guess I don't know how we make that work.
The place where we all became Beer Avengers in earnest has their happy hour every day at 420. So it was
that
always
is true.
Part of
it was always there. Yeah, it's always there.
Yeah. Pony Bar. Shout out to Dan. But yeah, so this one, what I find really interesting is it's definitely got the maple profile, but I taste the barrel more than I taste the maple, which is good.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah. But the maple isn't overly sweet, but it's there. It's got a presence. Really like very, very sippable beer, and very powerful, very warming. If Beer and Cheese Collective doesn't get more of these, I will probably be searching out for anywhere else where I can get it because it's really fantastic.
That good, huh? Wow, that's great.
A good 12% from Barrier. I mean,
you're right.
They know their shit.
Yeah, Barrier's been around a while now, and they really do still make really nice beers. I mean, I used to swear by the Money IPA. I thought that was the best IPA in New York back in the day. And then they've had some other ones. I had a smoked lager from them. It was called Frau Blucher.
Oh, did you like that one?
I loved it.
Okay.
And it was there's a brewery we found in Germany. Remember there was a Frau Blucher brewery?
Oh, right. Yes, I remember that. Mm-hmm.
But that smoked lager, I had it once. It was at in the Bronx at the there's a beer place in the Bronx, and I had it there. It's a chain. I can't remember, but oh my God, I was like, I have to have this beer, and I never saw it again. Another one from them, if I may mention this,
of course,
same thing. Barrier, they had a beer called Cairn, like the stone grave, CAIRN, and it was a Scotch ale, and I had it at Pony Bar. This is going way back.
Yeah.
I was like, I have to have that beer again, and I never saw it again. So it's like these Barrier beers that I love so much. I never find them again.
Okay. So I had that one most recently on December 27th, 2015.
Which one?
The smoked Scottish ale, Cairn.
Oh, you did have the Cairn.
I did. I gave it.
That's probably around the time I had it, or maybe
we might have been there the same night. But yeah, this was. Let's see, it doesn't want to tell me the details. I'll find the details.
That was a good beer.
It was. I really like that. Well, I mean, I had that one at I can see from the glass it was at Astoria Beer and Cheese, but it was what is now the Beer and Cheese Collective. But yeah, I have so many great Barrier beers here. I'm gonna have a slight disagreement with you on the Frau Blucher though. Only because there are not many beers that I keep in my memory as like, oh, that is that was ambitious. But it was the weird thing about the Frau Blucher. It was smoked, but it was also like had a bacon flavor to it.
Maybe.
And I remember getting a taste of it at the bar and thinking, oh, I like that. I got a full pour of it. And the more I drank it, the less I liked it. Oh, okay. I was like, this is a noble experiment, but I don't think so.
Yeah. Oh, no. Well, I was hooked from the beginning and all the way through the glass. But I get what you're saying. That smoked lager, when it's not dark, I generally find this, like we had the dark ones in when we were in Munich, in Germany, Bamberg, I should say.
Yeah, Bamberg.
But when you get them and they're lighter colored, they do tend to have more of a bacony vibe. But I don't know. I think that's because bacon is smoked. Some cheese is smoked. So it puts you in the mind of bacon. You really shouldn't be tasting actual bacon. But because you're tasting that smokiness, it does make you think it has a bacon flavor.
I feel like
the tasting note for sure.
I definitely feel like in the description bacon was mentioned. But you know, I mean, but
the word bacon was used.
But what's funny is like I'm looking at all my ratings. For whatever reason, I didn't rank that one. But like I have some really high ratings for some of Barrier's beer. In fact, when we had Rick from Beer and Cheese Collective on 2 years ago, I had the Morticia oak aged. The one they had this year was they do a different version every year, but that was a Dulce de Leche one.
Really I think I had that too.
I remember when you had that one.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of beers, that I know we're not letting the beer wonder get a word in, but speaking of beers,
no, I am very engaged. I have many memories that are similar here. I've lived through some of this with you guys.
We had a beer called, and you and I both love this, Captain, the Dirty with a U.
Oh, it was Smutty Nose?
Smutty Nose Brewing, out of New Hampshire.
Okay.
And of course, Smutty Nose they didn't go under, but they got sold to a bank, and now they just sort of make these standard beers. They don't really try other flavors. I don't know what's going on with. No, I'm serious. They went bankrupt, and they exist. You can find Old Brown Dog and.
If I make it through this before the end of the episode, I may have a Some Ideas update. Let's just say that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, great. Okay. Interesting. That's exciting.
Good stuff.
I think my favorite one of them was the Baltic Porter.
I remember that beer. I enjoyed that beer too. Yeah.
Specifically, they called it, like, all of their cans. They've changed their branding a little bit as far as their art, but all of their branding was like looked like a circus. Like I remember a lot of them had these like weird, like whether they were actual stock footage or they took footage or cart drawings to make it look this way. But it was called Robust Porter.
Robust Porter, yeah.
And there was like a strong man from the circus on the front of it, like, you know, in like a onesie and lifting the big weights. And
yeah, they got a new logo now. Oh, it is still the strong man, but he's got
okay.
He's holding a woman and a keg.
All right.
At the same time.
It's I haven't seen it around here yet, but it's a great beer. It was a great beer. Hopefully it still is.
Yeah. I think I would like to we should try. Well, I mean, I'm not going to find it out here, but pumpkin ale. Yeah, they're still making a lot of these other beer. Oh, they have another Baltic Porter, 9%.
Oh wow,
that's interesting. All right, I shouldn't get caught up in this.
You can tell it's a 2-episode evening when we're still basically on tasting notes, half an hour in, 27 minutes in.
Well, I mean, we did want to talk. I know we did want to talk a little bit about Huck's club, which has been a good thing in your life. So we did cover some of that. But
covered that, yeah. I have another one here if I finish this, so we'll do.
Yeah, but Captain, I do want to address something that I know has been very pressing for you, which is that the people are speaking to us.
Yeah. Yes, that is true.
The people are speaking to us, and we do need to speak back to the people, because when you write in, we will talk back to you, whether it is good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah. And we've had a couple of production delays, so some of these are a while back. So we apologize to our fans if we're just getting to you now, but we see you. You're seen. We appreciate you. And one is our friend and coworker of sorts, AJ Snap, who I don't, if anyone listens or watches our every week or every episode, when we release a new episode, I try and put all of the poor picks on our Instagram stories, and I find something to score them with. Right. I'm limited to whatever is in the Instagram library. Sometimes I'm more inspired than others, but I do it. I put all of our pours and put some music behind it.
I look forward to that every week.
And
yes.
and AJ on this one particular episode, which at this point is 2 episodes ago, just like said, all the music was spot on. So thank you, AJ. Appreciate it, because I sweat over that. I don't sweat over it too much. The reason I don't put it in our regular feed is because having it there forever is too much pressure. But knowing it'll be gone in 24 hours means like, fuck, I'll do whatever I want. So much so that I almost used "Moist Vagina" by Nirvana. As one,
and that's how we keep our explicit on this podcast. Thank you.
I don't think I was using clinical terms. Now it's not like I said pussy or cunt.
And thus we have succeeded.
Yes. No. It was. I was basically, because we spent so much time talking about your moist February. I feel like moistness was just really a recurring theme in it, and so I went into the thing and I said, okay, moist. And "Moist Vagina" by Nirvana, which is a song I didn't even know, came up. And I previewed it for myself. I almost went in. Then I found there was another song by Janet Jackson, which is called "Moist," and I used that one instead. So
I love it. I do want to give a shout out to AJ, because AJ is actually the person who taught me how to brew when I took my first class in how to brew. AJ was a part of that group. And during that time, he gave us a tour of his little underground brewing area in his home, where he has a bunch of barrels where he does barrel aging, and he puts big googly eyes on the barrels, which is truly the ace move. And I'm just saying, if your brewery is not putting Google eyes on your barrels, maybe you should consider upping your game. Because if AJ's doing it, everyone should do it.
And even if it weren't for the comments, I would know that AJ listens, because when I went on that Jersey Shore City Brew Tours thing, he and his wife were there, and I noticed some strange facial expressions from his wife, and I realized she was just sort of adjusting to the fact that he listens to us so often that she recognized my voice from just him listening to the podcast on the computer with the speakers on, and it was a little disorienting for her. She got used to it, but it was the other one was Huck, you had a beer from Incinerati Brewing.
Yes,
and
lovely beer. Cold IPA.
And someone from the brewery reached out and said, glad you're enjoying that beer, and they recommended another one, which I have I'll try and figure it out. I don't know where
Hazy. I know what they're talking about. Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm glad they're listening, and look forward to, if you have more of their beers, that'll be fun too. So yeah, those are the main ones I mentioned. I also this is kind of a nice little segue into kind of hookups, or not really hookups. But just sort of clarifications. Because this is one that, Huck, you corrected me on the episode, rightfully so. Every time I go on the Golden Mile in Dayton, one of the breweries that we usually stop at, I don't think we stopped at last time, is called Lock 27. And there's a brewery in New Jersey called Lock City. But somehow, even when I mentally tell myself to say Lock City, I will be in an episode and I've talked about this great beer, like I talked about this great beer from that great pumpkin beer from Lock City, and what comes out of my mouth is Lock 27, and you corrected me, so thanks for that. Yes, it is Lock City. But Lock 27, nothing against you.
I'll correct you again. It's Lock City is in Stamford, Connecticut.
Connecticut. Okay, see, there you go. I could have sworn it was Jersey.
It's tri-state area.
Jersey, Connecticut. There's rail to both of them.
It's far from Ohio. Let's just say that.
That's true. That is correct. It's a whole different. Well, wait. What? Okay, now what time zone is Ohio in? Because now this is just
same time zone.
Eastern?
Same time zone.
Yeah.
The same as
same time zone. Okay, good. Okay.
The other one was you had a cold IPA on that show. And I know we've all talked amongst ourselves about cold IPAs, but I don't think we've really talked about that genre on the show, because Belgian Babe was listening to the episode and she asked me, like, what's a cold IPA? And I explained it to her, but Huck, since you're the one having the beer, why don't you tell our beer vengers out there what a cold IPA is?
Well, cold IPA, I'm pretty sure. I mean, people say that it's not the same as a hoppy lager, or what we used to call an IPL, which is an India Pale Lager. But that's what it is. It's we call them hoppy lagers, India Pale Lager, or now we're calling them cold IPAs, meaning that it's cold lagered, that it's lagered. It is a lager, as opposed to an ale, which is a higher temperature, so cold. Pretty sure.
I'm going to push back a little on that because I'm not disagreeing with you because I've read conflicting things. I believe that it might be actually. I think an IPL is definitely a lager. I think an IPL is using lager yeast at lager temperatures. I think cold IPAs might actually be using ale yeast but brewed at colder temperatures, which is why they're still technically an IPA. Or they might actually be brewed at normal temperatures, but it is some. They're not a pure lager, which is why they're called cold IPAs, I think. But they probably taste profile. If you were to do the blind taste test, you probably couldn't tell the difference between a cold IPA and IPL.
That sounds about right to me, and that's sort of been my understanding of it. That said, at this rate, the craft beer world is just kind of making up styles as we go along. So,
true.
Yeah,
but just kind of.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's still an ale, but it's fermented at a colder temperature.
I honestly, I think the biggest purist,
kind of a hybrid. It's a hybrid, I think.
I think the highest standard of purity is lager, and I think they basically say if you don't do all these X, Y, and Z, or mostly just X and Y, mostly just the right kind of yeast and the right kind of temperature,
and the right kind of temperature.
It's not a lager; it's something else. And so, ales are like, sure, come over here. We don't care. You can be an ale.
Yeah, ales are much cooler.
Whereas lagers are like, tight. What temperature was that at? No, you're an ale.
Lagers are dicks, and ales are like free-spirited artists.
Ales are cool.
I love the way that we're anthropomorphizing our beer.
Well, and here's the thing: given the very important Beer Vengers research we did in Belgium and Germany, I feel like that is pretty accurate based on what we experienced over there, because the lager people took themselves very seriously, seriously.
Yeah, and we did the Belgian ales, and they were all like, "Yeah, have the triple, man."
We're all over the place.
Damn fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very good.
On a slight tangent,
I have another.
Oh yes, go for it. Go for it, Huck. No, go for it, Huck.
Because we were talking about people that mentioned us. We got a shout out from the happy hour guys.
Oh yeah, we like them.
Oh yes.
As a response to one of our stories. Where I found a 4-pack of Heady Topper in Fresno.
Yeah, amazing.
And I was like, wow, yeah. And so I had one on Saturday. They were just dandy. And my boy
Mark.
Mark. Mm-hmm. Where's he? He's in the Midwest or down in South?
No, he's in Astoria.
Oh, he's in Astoria.
I mean, he does a lot of gigs elsewhere, but he's
okay.
He and his wife are located in Astoria. Else. Yeah,
but his dad is
I feel like he spends a lot of time in one of the Carolinas. I know we should have him on the show, I guess.
But is he the super taster, Uber taster?
No, that's Josh from Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So these guys haven't been on the show.
They have.
They have. I think it
was different episode.
It was during your hiatus. Yeah. Yes. We did a whole episode about Curtain Up that they were on.
Right. I remember.
He hasn't been on it individually.
So he had
which we need to correct.
Too, and
that is true.
That, as well, it's still a classic.
That was actually the best one to have during the hiatus because we had a full 3 guests on that episode.
That was an epic episode, truly. And you should listen to it if you haven't heard that one. You should go back to the archives and listen to that.
And it is a number.
Let me let the beer wonder.
Well, no, I just speaking of important things on the socials, I do want to acknowledge, because we touched on it in the last episode, but Huck, you have started the all-important Beer Vengers TikTok.
That's right.
And can you regale the captain started it, but you brought it to fruition. You birthed it, as one might say. Can you tell us about that first TikTok for the people? And if you're not following along, you should be following along at the Beer Vengers on the TikToks.
Yeah.
So Huck, tell us
what was going on. By the time you hear this, there might be 5 more. Who knows? But yeah.
Well, we got some new followers. I'll have to say. We have the Saison Kid is following us.
Always a good one.
Is that his name? No. He's got Tripel.
Oh,
your friendly neighborhood Tripel man. Is
okay, there
we
go.
Yes.
Kate Santucci and Samantha.
Yes.
Okay.
Kate is the incredulous Bulk's wife.
Oh, great! Yeah. I knew that name Santucci was familiar.
Yes.
Well, let's see. On our I shouldn't play sound. I get that. Turn it down. I can't get it off.
You're hearing the truth of the Instagrams right now. You guys know this is a real show. We're doing this live.
We are.
Our one TikTok has 808 views.
I know. We're kind of a big deal.
8. And it's very exciting. It's Cider Girl and myself at Summer Fox Brewing, enjoying the open mic, which we later performed at. Yeah, it's doing really well.
So how do you do that? Do you record it and put it up later, or just like throw it up there immediately, or how does that work?
You could do it either way.
Okay.
I did this one live. Yeah,
I'm sure our listeners are very excited to have Huck explain TikTok to me.
I'm telling you, it's the same as doing
Instagram,
like an Instagram video.
Okay,
it's very simple.
Well,
and
Huck
you could do. I think there's 3 different options. You could do the 15 seconds, 60 seconds, or now 3 minutes.
So essentially, the only real difference between Instagram and TikTok is Instagram doesn't have quite as much Chinese data mining.
Well, yeah, right. Instagram has American data mining.
Okay, there we go.
But at the same time, TikTok is basically done in the United States. And it's just cooler.
Because the kids, right?
That's what the Chinese want us to think.
Listen,
the Chinese government,
I should say. A lot of TikToks. I do post some.
Yeah.
But I watch it all day.
Okay.
It's the goods.
Well, you know what I watch? I watch mainly First Amendment auditor videos.
Okay.
Where they challenge cops by videotaping in public. And then the cops are like, "Can we have your ID?" He's like, "No, I'm not required to give you my ID." I just watch them over and over. I mean, this
cool.
It's fascinating.
I'm not kidding. Need to get you a hobby, Huck? Like, do we need to?
No, actually, I'm in a band now.
Okay, this is good.
Right, the Mike Birch Band.
Mike Birch Band, we're calling it. I've had it.
We don't know who he is. He seems questionable.
More names. My favorite name so far has been Clampy's Picnic. I just love that.
Clampy's Picnic. All right.
Yeah, it's not resonating with everyone. Our drummer just came up with one, Loosey Goosey. So
okay.
Much like our Beer Avengers episode. Anyway, I'm still playing music, so I am doing that.
Oh,
also another thing I'm doing is drinking beer. So I have another beer here.
Oh my gosh, a second pour.
Beer Club beer.
Oh, pretty can.
This is called Dark Abyss. Dark Abyss. And it is a beer that a style that I've never tried. I don't think any of us have. It's a black Kolsch style ale.
Oh, I've never even heard of that.
Kolsch. And it's a collaboration with Thorn Brewing Company. Thorn. Also Melvin, of course, because they do all the Lazy Dog beers. Now, Lazy Dog itself, the brewery, I would not call it a craft beer bar because their regular beer list is pretty corporate.
Okay.
But they always have their standard 6 house beers, which are Melvin beers, and then they always have whatever the quarterly beers are on tap. So they do generally have about 10 craft beers that you can't get anywhere else. You know, they're all Melvin, but Melvin's no slouch. No. All right, so let's take a look at this black Kolsch.
Well, it's black. I'll say that. It's very dark.
Sure, yeah.
All right.
That is a good looking beer. Good head retention on it. Looks really nice. Also, it looks gorgeous in that glass. It really does look good in that like beer can shaped glass that they've got there.
I just realized they used the same glass as the brown ale.
I've used the same glass here. I'm going to do it again too.
We all survive. It's fine.
And this is the Dark Abyss.
All right. Dark Abyss. All right.
Please,
well, before we get on to any other conversations, although I do think, what was the Loosey, what, Loosey Goosey, was that the one you were saying?
Band name?
For the band name?
I think that's a solid band name.
However, I also like the name of the Minnesota sandwich, Juicy Loosey, I think is.
Oh, the Juicy Loosey. It's a delicious sandwich.
All right. So I know I said I'd talk about Smutty Nose. And I know you said it's a little more basic than some of their stuff, but honestly, it's still a great beer. This is the Smutty Nose Old Brown Dog.
That is a good beer. That's a good beer.
Speaking of brown ales, that's like the grandfather.
That is one of the epic brown ales.
Yesterday, I took a trip to the Triborough Beverage, which I've talked about before. It's been a while since I've talked about them, because sometimes I've been there, and here we go. Yeah, it's just a classic brown ale. It's really fantastic here. There we go.
That is a good. And look at that. It's such a pretty beer. It really does. It's like a gorgeous, perfect. What a brown ale should be.
Yep.
Look, taste the whole bit.
I honestly almost wanted to have this one on if our show with Nutpool was going to be a 2-episode, to like a first the olive branch about celebrating his return to his proper mental health. Since he's so into nut browns, I wanted to have a brown ale on that show, but we didn't have time. But here it is, the Old Brown Dog. Really one of my all-time favorites. But this is the first time I'd seen it in a while, because I used to like we mentioned before, the Robust Porter was one of my favorite ones. There's the aged version of this one called the Really Old Brown Dog. But this is just a great beer. But going to the beer I've had a lot of beer right now. Going to the Triborough Beverage. I went there mostly because I knew they had a great selection of non-alcoholic beers, and Belgian Babe was doing a bit of a dry February. And so I knew they would have a better, because she was telling me, she's like, oh, I just picked up some O'Douls. I'm like, you can do better. You don't need to do O'Douls. And I went there and I wound up picking up like 12-pack of the Brooklyn special effects.
Oh, those are quite good. Those are well-made non-alcoholic beers.
And like the sampler pack has a Pilsner, it's got an IPA, it's got a hazy IPA, and a hoppy amber. And it just like really great. But while I was there, I also saw the Smutty Nose Old Brown Dogs. Like, well, I haven't seen that in forever. And then I saw that what's the one from Maryland with the can art from it's Flying Dog.
Flying Dog is from Maryland.
Flying Dog is from Maryland.
They do the Ralph Steadman cover art.
Yes,
yes.
The
guy who worked with Hunter S. Thompson. And they had a called the Cream Team, which is a cookies and cream imperial something or other, 9.5%. So I haven't seen this, so I have to get it. And they had the latest version of the Dogfish Head Worldwide Stout. So I'm like, next thing you know, I'm spending $100 at
of course,
at Triborough Beverage, but worth it. And I have this one here.
Just
but
I think I'm out.
Well, no, honestly, it was one of those things where sometimes I go there and I feel that it's so seasonal, and the hard seltzers are taking up so much real estate that I'm like, I don't know what I want here. But yesterday, it was an embarrassment of riches. In fact, they had a couple of beers that I wanted to walk out and like, even though it's only 2 blocks from my apartment, I'm like, I don't have the upper arm strength to carry all of this. I still carried about 30 beers home, but I did. I left a 6-pack of Kalamazoo Stout from Bell's on the shelf because.
Oh yeah, that's a good one too.
It is. Like I said, it's all great stuff. So, but now I'm having the Smutty Nose Old Brown Dog. So, cheers.
When's the last time you had one? Or you've had it. You've had it
before yesterday. I don't know. I mean, as we've established, me looking this stuff up on Untapped is not an especially good barometer.
It's probably been 5 or 6 years.
Maybe it might have, and maybe even longer than that for the Robust Porter. I'm still going to keep my eye out for that one. I hope that makes it up here or down here, or I don't know. I always get it confused with East Coast geography. Like, what direction is New England from here? I don't know.
Yeah, it's so confusing. But This dark Kolsch is weird.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Talk to us. What? Why?
Because I'm getting like some of the dark elements you get like with the black lager, almost the chocolatey, but then it doesn't go there. And then I'm getting like the flavors you get from the Kolsch, like a bready or a crispiness, and then it doesn't go there. You know what I mean? It's like the two. Mm-hmm. It's like when a cold front and a warm front come up against each other.
Yeah.
Maybe I just need to drink more of it.
That solves many things. Drinking more of it.
It's almost a licorice. I get I get a little licorice on the finish.
Yeah.
It's unique. It's unique. I'll give them that.
Okay. Well, I'm proud of anyone for trying.
Dark Abyss. Yeah, Black Kolsch.
So this is crazy. Since you've encouraged me towards this, I'm looking at all of the everything I've ever put on Untapped under Smutty Nose, and there are like about 18 of them, but they're like all between like 2013 and 2017.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I actually, for whatever reason, it doesn't look like. I have a few different versions of Dirty because you mentioned Dirty. There was a Dirty Mud Season Hoppy Brown Ale. There was a 2014 and 2015. Something they called a Baltic Porter I did in 2013. That might have been graduated the Robust Porter.
Okay.
And they had a Rocky Road.
You don't remember the Dirty?
I do remember the Dirty, but they had an Imperial Stout that was really great. But the only one I actually registered was the really old brown dog. But even that was 2016. So yeah, I drank a lot of them in 2013 to 2016, and probably some point after that they kind of disappeared.
There's a brewery called Dirty Bull, so it's taking up all my space on Untapped.
I hope everyone who's listening to this is drinking along with us, since this is
that's where we are.
Our two-parters always get a little rambly, and I hope you enjoy that aspect of it. I think it's more of a feature than a
brown ale, and I do get no longer in production when I look it up.
That is true. Well, but Captain, I did want to address some beer venging that recently happened. You and I did make it to our friends at Evil Twin.
Yeah. They have their take on the Mexican cake called the Real Mexican Cake.
I had that before. Yeah,
I still think Westbrook does it better, but theirs is good. I got a 4-pack, had a few of those, enjoyed them.
Yep, we checked out the Dumbo.
The can art is great on that beer.
Yes, it really is.
Yes. Yeah.
I would have stayed there longer, but I had that barrier tasting to get to.
Yeah, but you picked up a very fancy bottle while we were there as well. That was that had wax on the top of it. It was a whole situation. Can you fill us in on what's going on there?
One of my favorite shows ever, and this might segue into talking about TV and movies, is Twin Peaks. And Evil Twin likes to reference Twin Peaks now and again.
They do, yeah.
In part because they have this ongoing series of amazing barley wines, which they've occasionally sold in 5-ounce cans, called Great Northern. Great Northern is the name of the hotel on Twin Peaks. And they have a series of these, and they had a new one. And I went in there and I said, yeah, do you have any of these? They had them like behind the bar. And I found part of it is because they were more expensive than I realized. But once I gave her my credit card, there's no turning back. Yeah, I bought a $40 bottle of beer. I paid $40 for and I might have it at my next stout tasting. I might need to age it for a little while. I don't know, but that is it. It is certainly among, if not the most expensive bottle of beer I've bought, and I'm looking forward to having it at some point in the future.
Yeah, well, that's one to savor for sure.
Fantastic.
And speaking of TV and movies, I've been incredibly immersed lately, and I've been spending a lot of time watching that. Partly because we've talked a little bit before about how we are artists of various degrees, and I'm a member of SAG-AFTRA. And this time of year, we have to vote on the SAG-AFTRA Awards, and they make a lot of the things available to us. And I try to consume as much of it as I can, so I can vote in an informed way. Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, I try to vote in an informed way for politics as well. But they give me all this free stuff. I want to watch all of it, and I've been watching a bunch of it. And I want to
Plus you
get
love
into
movies.
huh?
Plus
you like movies, yeah.
Well, of course I love movies. Yes. And Huck, I know you've been getting this stuff too, so I don't want to. Hopefully, Beer Wonder, if you have any questions about these things, please jump in because I know you don't watch
always. I don't, but I will ask questions.
I think you're incredibly overwhelmed by the massive amount of content, even before you weren't watching a lot of them, and so it's curation is really rough.
Yes,
but in addition to watching all of those, I also bought a membership to this thing called Mubi, which curates. They show you have a lot of online content, and every week you can go see a movie for free at a movie theater. It's different ones. They've got a whole network of New York independent movie theaters. I've seen stuff at IFC, at Quad, Lincoln Center, all that. And I was at a movie at the Quad a couple of weeks ago, and I had time to go to the bar. They have a bar at the Quad. A friend of mine is the bartender there, and they happen to have Founders Breakfast out on tap. And
I know where this is going.
And I know this beer is I still really love it. I've often talked about how our palates are evolving and changing, and
sure.
And so, like, the first time I had a Founders Breakfast Stout is probably the best beer I'd ever had in my life.
Fair.
And I still like it a whole lot. I've even that one I've seen other things, but I'm always happy to see it. And so I had it, and my friend John said, you can get that in to-go cup to go to your movie, or finish that one and have another one. I'm like, I will have another one in a to-go cup, but because it was a movie theater, their to-go cup is like one of those like paper, wax cups with the lid on it. And he put it in there. He said, "Do you want a straw?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think I want a straw." Because it just seemed like the best way to have it. Because I'm like, honestly, if you're the Alamo Draft House, you have a tray in front of you, right? You got a serving tray.
Yeah, it's a whole setup.
Essentially a table. So drinking a beer out of a pint glass makes sense there, and at a few other places that I've been to in my life. But Quad has cup holders, but they're basically just still movie theater seats. So I said, yeah, give me a straw. So I watched that movie, drinking my Founders Breakfast Stout out of a straw. And it made me think about when we had the provider on talking about her first Budweiser out of a straw. And I'm like, you know what? This isn't bad. He got me I'm eating popcorn, and I'm having a Founders Breakfast Stout in a paper cup with a straw, and having a great time. So there's that.
So Huck, have you drunk a beer out of a straw?
Film is again.
Yeah.
What's that?
Film was.
That film was called. Well, okay, it wasn't Cairo. Was it Cairo? No, was it? I think it was called Cairo Conspiracy.
Okay, Cairo Conspiracy.
So it wasn't one of the nominees. It just the deal with Mubi is it's almost all foreign films.
Oh, okay.
They're almost all foreign films, and sometimes they're re-releases. Like I saw the deal is like it's eventually it's like $20 a month. I don't know if I'm going to stick with that or not. But I got a trial membership where you have access to a great online library and a movie in a movie theater every week for like what was $1 for 3 months. So, and yeah,
I think that in that situation, it makes perfect sense to drink. Did you find that it enhanced or dissipated the enjoyment of the oatmeal stout?
I feel like it definitely did not dissipate it.
Okay,
I just like
interesting.
Honestly, it's so.
That's what's important.
I meant to look this up before we recorded this one because I don't know if there's any actual chocolate in it, but I don't think. Here's the thing.
No, I don't think
like,
so. I think
there's
you're
so
right.
many things now that have these adjuncts, but I think that they are. It's a double chocolate oatmeal stout. But I don't think it has chocolate adjuncts in it. I think it's using that's another thing why it's such a great beer is that it they use like chocolate malt, I think, in it.
Right, chocolate malts and they use oats for that creamy mouthfeel. Yeah. Very good.
So
I'm gonna. On one hand, I'm gonna approve.
Okay.
On the other hand, it's like, well, using straws is not.
No aromas. Right. Yep.
Well, we don't want to use the plastic straws.
Right. I should have brought my reusable one if I knew that was going to happen,
right.
but I didn't
That's
have
true.
one on hand.
I'm a straw user, so I can't really talk. That's kind of my environmental vice, if you will. When we go out to restaurants, I'll be like, yeah, I'm going to have a straw with my iced tea. Just because I have sensitive teeth, but
I feel that by living in a New York apartment and not owning a car, I feel like you have a hybrid, but I also feel like living in a New York apartment and not having a car, my carbon footprint is pretty small already, so I don't feel that guilty about using the occasional straw. I won't seek it out. I won't make it a regular thing.
Reusables,
yeah.
And nowadays we're getting more compostable straws, which are made from corn fibers, and also paper straws. People are using more paper straws. So we're moving in a good direction in that. Yeah. And I think that drinking a beer through straws, it reminds me of the song Buffalo Stance by Nina Cherry.
Okay.
If you don't know the song,
I'll look it up.
And look for it when you make the Instagram later.
Yeah, sure. It'll be on one of your beers for sure.
You got to be like sucking beers through straws. Where did you get yours? It's a great song.
I look forward to it.
You guys know the song at all?
No. I will say, I have also drunk a beer through a straw, and this was at a rodeo that I went to at Madison Square Garden. And it was probably in like 2016, maybe 2015. And that was when, Brooklyn was like the craft beer that you got at sports locations. And so that's what we had as our beer option at this rodeo. And they served it to us in a plastic cup with a top on it and a straw. And I remember thinking it was weird, but thoroughly enjoying it.
Okay.
So
very good.
So I approve. I mean, I question overall the conceit, but I ultimately approve.
Excellent. Now, since we are talking about movies and award season, I don't know by the time this episode comes out how many of these award shows have actually happened.
That's true.
But I think that since I always enjoy if I'm watching a movie at home, I'm most likely having a beer. If I'm allowed to have it at a movie theater, I have. So I feel like movies and beers are becoming more and more intertwined.
Very true.
I'm curious, Huck, of the movies you've been watching, which are probably some of the same ones I've been watching. What's leaping out at you?
Well, I must say that I have not gotten discs because of address.
Well, there's not a lot you're sending out.
Paying the dues, and so I haven't seen a lot. What's standing out for me? You know what? I have the.
We have all the streaming options, right?
Yeah, I mean, I watched all the Quiet on the Western Front, which is very.
I haven't seen that. That's not okay.
Beautifully filmed, but it's a tough one to watch because it's really realistic.
Yeah, it's war.
It's super realistic.
It's about World War II, but it's a German film, right?
World War One.
World War One.
First World War, yeah.
But it's a German film.
The Great War.
Yeah. The first Great
And you know
War,
what?
Yeah.
There's been films made in America
about
films.
it. Yeah,
there was a TV movie, and there was one in the 30s.
Oh, I didn't know there were two.
Might have been one.
Yeah.
Well, there was a Richard Thomas movie, a TV movie, and then there was the in the 30s there was one that won the Academy Award.
Yeah.
So this is actually, I don't know if it's the first time it's been done, actually German language film.
Yeah.
Because it is a German book. And Hitler, when I just learned this today, when the Nazis came into power, they were actually, that was one of the books they would burn, showing a weakness in the German spirit by saying war was bad, I'd
like to see that.
I have not seen the Avatar, which I know is, and I also haven't seen Top Gun Maverick, which is, see, the only thing I don't want to get into, something we're going to argue about. So let me.
What are we going to argue about?
I'm not going to get into it.
I want to know what we're going to argue about. Because I also don't want
off camera.
I don't want to see Top Gun. I did see Avatar, and even after I met Beer Wonder at the Pony Bar that night, and I also took a little bit of an edible before I went, and it didn't help.
Oh,
it did not help.
I've heard questionable things about Avatar,
and it's not the worst movie I've ever seen, but I'm just like,
I'd like to see the Fablemans, and I'd like to see Triangle of Sadness, but I haven't seen those.
I saw Fablemans a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
I will say Everything Everywhere all at Once. That's going to get my
I've
vote.
heard it's spectacular. Yeah.
Honestly, the only movies I saw before the nominations came out were that and Banshees of Inisherin. And they're still probably my favorite ones. But I also saw Tar last week, which I really liked a lot.
Okay. I haven't seen that. I love Cate Blanchett.
Yeah, well, honestly, you should check out the apps because a lot of the apps are available on Roku for. I'll send you the stuff. Yeah, like most of the stuff is on apps, at least till the end of the week.
Oh, Roku, yeah, that's good for me.
Well, for the SAG-AFTRA stuff, they're all on there. But I wanted to tell you because I don't know what you're not telling me, what you think we need to talk about off mic, but I did start watching Andor.
Oh, the TV show. Yeah, that's good. It's enjoyable. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm about 3-4 episodes in. I did not see Rouge One, or however it's pronounced. But I understand it's a prequel to Rouge One. Is that right?
Yeah, Rogue One. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you don't need to watch Rogue One to
you don't. However, if you haven't seen Rogue One, you don't know until about 3 episodes in that Andor is the name of the main character.
Oh,
which is fine. I was still engaged.
In Rogue One or in the series?
In the series, there's a point where.
I see. Because I already knew that was who he was because I watched it.
Right, but there's a scene. The point in like
look at any of the.
There's a point in like episode 3 where Stellan Skarsgård walks into the room and he says Andor. I'm like, oh, he's Andor. That's the first time I knew what Andor actually meant. I figured it was a planet or something.
It is problematic in the Star Wars universe because Andor is very similar to Endor.
It sounds like the name of a planet.
Which is the moon of Endor where the Ewoks lived.
And it made me realize.
Come up with another name.
So are all the Disney Channel Star Wars shows named after characters?
Oh, that's a good Mandalorian.
Obi-Wan, Boba Fett.
Fett. Now Andor.
Are there any more Star Wars shows? Because I
there are, but they're cartoons, so they don't count.
Oh, okay.
In my book, I mean, people like them. Let's get back to beer for a second.
Yes.
What's going on over at Grimm Brewing?
Oh yeah, let's talk about
what is up with that? What is up with that?
Okay, now Grimm, I just saw this today. They have a new beer. It's called. This is a Captain beer. It's called Brûlot Diabolique, barrel-aged imperial stout with coffee, orange zest, cloves, and cinnamon. Okay.
Oh,
that's fine.
I gotta go. I'm gonna go head over there right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think
they have a something you could do only when you go to the tap room, which is brulee your beer.
What?
What does that even mean?
They take a hot poker.
Okay.
And they put it into your glass of stout, presumably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Imperial stout. And it essentially cappuccinos it. It heats it. And you drink a hot stout.
Oh.
Like a coffee.
I don't. Ooh, that. I mean, I'm intrigued, but I'm also concerned.
Intriguing.
Yeah.
I would try it at least once.
So this is inspired by a New Orleans cocktail. But this is the first beer specifically designed to be bruleed with a hot poker.
Wow.
Well, yeah, that does sound like quite a niche.
They already started the hot poker thing before. They were doing it with like the what's the beer they serve, the one with the imperial stout they make. I don't know why I'm not seeing any more of these brulee posts, but yeah. So it's got to be tried. They take I mean, it probably costs money.
Yeah.
But I'm sure. Take an actual hot poker and they put it in the beer.
This is so it's an experience.
I think I need to try it. Yeah. And I feel like I need to try it before we record another episode. So
yeah,
I can talk about it. Yeah.
We may need to make
a beer field
trip because I'm not there. Yeah. So you know me, when I was back in New York, I loved Grimm. Was one of my favorite spots. And to go and have a brulee, especially before it gets too warm, while it's still winter, get over there and have a nice.
I'll do it in August. I don't fucking care. But yeah, I'll try to do it before then.
But to drink a hot beer, I mean, it sounds pretty wild. I don't know.
If it works though, I like I said, I'll try it at least once.
Brulade beer. I mean, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, that's a new one for me. Yeah.
And the fact that they're sitting there with the pokers to heat up. I don't know how they're heating them, but it's red hot. You can see the Instagram. They've got an Instagram story right now. You can go look at it. And it's like this heated red hot poker. They put it into the damn glass of beer. And it makes it foam up.
Yeah.
And it heats the whole thing. I mean, I don't know if it makes it better, but I've never heard of that. It's like a black Kolsch. I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
This does seem like it will be an important piece of research for us.
Definitely.
Gotham-focused Beer Ventures. So
it's exciting to me, speaking of research, knowing that, like, because the way that time works, that by the time people listen to this episode, you and I will have gone to the big kickoff event 3 weeks before. You know, like true. I said,
there's the run into the Grim people. Talk to them about this Brulé.
We will absolutely talk to them about that. How sober we are by the time we get to the Grim booth depends on real estate, really. But we'll see. All right.
I thought Beer Wonder was going to say something.
Well, I still want to know what you don't want to talk about on mic, but I will let the Beer Vengers Sphere decide what that is.
Oh, I see. They're heating it with.
We'll let them start more rumors.
Like a little gas thing. Well, here's the.
So it's just like. Yeah.
I mean, hats off to their creativity, whether it works or it doesn't. It's like I was talking about at the beginning of way back earlier on in the show when we talked about how, like, I didn't think that Frau Blucher worked, but I salute their efforts. This one, I gotta try that.
That's definitely a you thing.
But also I love coffee. I love beer. I love coffee. If you can figure out a way to make me drink beer that actually is like the temperature of coffee, and it's a viscerally wonderful experience. I'm there for it, and even if it's bad, I salute you for trying.
They're saying this is a German tradition. Beer Stackeln is a traditional German process in which a metal beer stockel, beer spike, is heated above 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit and plunged into a beer, caramelizing the residual sugars and creating a thick layer of creamy foam with a toasted marshmallow aroma.
The
beer remains cold.
Yeah, hot poker beer
remains cold.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, at the end it's cold.
Yeah. This is a whole thing. I'm in my brief Google search. I'm seeing a lot about it.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
All right.
I guess
they really dug deep for that.
Yeah, I think investigation needs to happen. But on that, I do see that Huck has arrived with the uke. Yeah. Before we go,
he doesn't want to hear what I think about Black Panther, and I actually enjoyed it. But I don't know if that's what he didn't want to talk about.
No, that's not it.
All right.
No, but before we get there,
yes, it's crazy.
Let's remind the people if they want to get in touch with us, because we do read out what they say on the show. How do they get in touch with us, Captain?
Well, you can look for @TheBeerVengers. Should I do the real ASMR thing here? You can look for @TheBeerVengers.
Yeah, do it. Get right in there. Get right in there.
@TheBeerVengers at Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. If you're really cool and old school, you can email us at thebeervengers@gmail.com. And we're going to reach right back out because we love you, our fellow Beer Vengers. TikTok. Yeah. Right. Okay, so TikTok.
Okay, we did
TikTok
that.
Also. We're going to be doing more.
Yeah, don't forget about TikTok.
Hopefully, by the time that you hear this, we're going to be exploding virally on TikTok.
That's
Did I say that wrong? Did I say that wrong?
800 or maybe a vaccine. I don't know, something.
I don't have 800 views on any of my videos. Well, maybe like one, but.
All right. Thanks everyone for listening. Thanks, Beer Wonder. Thanks, Hophead Huck. And
always a pleasure. Come back anytime.
Come back anytime. All of us. We will. We'll come back every time. All right. Play us out, Huck.
I will play it out. I wasn't a big fan of Banshees of Inisherin. Oh, we're the beer Vengers. Beer Vengers. Beer Vengers. We're the Beer Vengers.
And you're wrong about Benches of Inisherin.